Good evening, folks, and welcome to another episode of GNHS-TV. A brilliant night for nice football tonight, as your 3-4 Grayslake North Knights get to take on the 6-1 and very hot Grant Bulldogs tonight. A very interesting matchup. Also happening around the NLCC, Lakes is also taking on Antioch tonight in a conference matchup. This as well will be a conference matchup as the Knights look to get back into contention into the playoffs and hopefully have a 500 record going against Central next week. They beat Wakanda last week to improve their record to 3-4. Well, Grant has just been hot this season as they almost lost to Antioch, almost putting up a huge fight against Antioch, something that little teams seem to do against that team. A very powerful team with Ethan Kaliak-Manis as well as his brother Dino, along with Trey Watson on that team. And kickoff is coming up in just a bit. Grant Bulldogs versus Grayslake North Knights. You're tuning in to GNHS-TV. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of GNHS-TV as we feature a conference matchup in football tonight between the Grant Bulldogs and your Grayslake North Knights. The Bulldogs coming in really hot as they have a 6-1. They're 6-1 to start off the season, as the Knights are 3-4, hoping to get a win against this powerhouse of a team in Grant, as they are 3-4. We're going to head into a 500 record, going against the last game of the season against Central, and hopefully make the playoffs tonight, as Grant has elected to kick off to the Knights tonight to start off this game. As the Knights look to get off to a hot start against this really solid Grant team. As looks like we are ready for kickoff. As Eddie Tregenza, as Hines, Johnson, and Swanson back to receive the kick. As Tregenza looks to kick off. As Swanson, Johnson, and Hines are back to receive the kick for the Knights, and we are underway with this conference matchup. As it'll be jumped up by Kilowitz, and it'll be brought down right around the 35. As Kilowitz looks to jump on that ball. It'll be 1st and 10 coming up for the Knights offense here. It looks like it's their own 37-yard line. As Nick Fish looks to come out for his first drive. This will be Router. Receivers are Swanson as Fish. 1st and 10. 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. As Fish on the first play of the drive, he'll snap back, he'll run and take it himself, and he'll get a bunch of yards. He will get a first down inside Grant territory, and there will be a flag on the play. There will be a flag on the field, as it'll be a block in the back on the Knights. It'll be a replay first down. As a huge play was messed up. Looks like it'll be a block in the back against Grant, and the ball will be placed inside Bulldog territory. It'll be illegal hands in the face against the Bulldogs. Be a nice first play to begin this game, as it'll be a massive first down, and the Knights will be inside Bulldog territory. And it'll be a jump off sides against. Looks like the penalty will be a false start against North, and that's coming back. And it will be taken back inside Knights territory. Yes. It'll be a 1st and 15 coming up for the Knights. 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. As Hines and Swanson on the right. To give, and it'll be a pitch over to Johnson, and he'll try to find some running room on the outside, and he will find some room. There goes Johnson before he is brought down inside the 30-yard line, as he is still going, and will be brought down inside the 25, way deep inside of Grant territory. A huge first down gain there by Johnson. His first rush of the game is a big one. We have 1st and 10 from inside the 25-yard line of the Bulldogs. As Johnson, Fish in the backfield. 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. 1st and 10, Fish the snap. The throw will be to Hines deep downfield, and it'll be to Router. As the pass intended for number 12, Jeremy Router in the end zone, just a little bit overthrown. Be 2nd and 10 from Grant's inside the 25-yard line of the Bulldogs. They'll be 2nd and 10 after the incomplete pass. 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. They'll send Hughes in motion, and the pass will be caught by Jeremy Router, and he will be stuffed behind the line. All right, we'll just it'll be a hold against the Knights. Then I'll bring it back a bunch of yards. That's fine the way it is. It's fine. It'll be 2nd and long coming up for the Knights, as penalties have really killed this offense this season. It'll be 2nd and long coming up for the Knights. 2 wide receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Swanson and Hines to the right. Snaps to Fish. Fish will keep it himself, and he will be dropped at the line of scrimmage as Fish looked to keep it himself. There'll be another 3rd and long play coming up for the Knights offense here. You got it? Okay, good. As we approach the 10-minute mark of the first quarter. As it'll be 3rd and long coming up for the Knights. 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Hines and Johnson in the backfield. Johnson will go in motion. The give will be to Swanson, and it will be, it looks like it was going to be a screen pass there to Swanson. There'll be another 4th and long coming up for the Knights offense. As a few big plays by this Knights offense really got them going inside Grant's territory until Grant finally made a defensive stand inside their own territory. As John Bolton is back to receive the punt, and the punt will be away, almost blocked there, as it will fall in just about at the 20-yard line. And Grant looks like they will take over 1st and 10 coming up for the Bulldogs here. As their quarterback, Tyler Elfring. As Elfring led this team to a very hot start. As he looks to get his first drive against the Knights defense here. As the talk of this Knights defense has been Brian Kinnebrew, and looks like Travis Standurski will get his first start on this Knights defense. As Elfring, the snap, it'll roll to his left, and it will be going nowhere, and he'll be stuffed behind the line. And Travis Standurski with his first sack of this game. And also was the first again on Elfring. As Travis Standurski has his first sack of this game. A huge loss there by the Bulldogs. It'll be 2nd and long coming up for Grant. As Elfring will have 2 wide receivers to his right, 2 to his left. The snap, the give, he'll roll to his right, and he will get pressure by Standurski. He'll roll, he'll keep it himself, he'll throw it away, and it will fall incomplete. Big pressure there by Standurski. As Hines was on the coverage. As the Knights look to get off to a hot start against this solid Grant team, who has had a tremendous season so far as they look to make the playoffs this season. as a hot 6-1 start. As Elfring will have two wide receivers to his left, one to his right. As the snap, Elfring, as a pass, and he'll keep it himself. Elfring will keep it himself, and he'll get pressure. And Josh Reel was in on that tackle. And Noah Green also in on that tackle. It'll be 4th and long coming up for this Grant offense. Not the start Grant really wanted here. A brilliant start by this Knights defense. The first play of the game is by Travis Standurski. As Grant looks to punt it away. As the punt will be, it'll be just inside Grant territory, be at their own 48-yard line. It'll be at Grant's only 48-yard line. Be 1st and 10, their second possession of the game for this Knights offense as they look to finally punch it in the end zone on this drive. Be 1st and 10 from the 48. It'll be two wide receivers to the left, one to the right as Swanson is the lone receiver. They'll send Hines in motion. The give is to Johnson, and he will find a couple. Flags come flying.
There are flags at the end of that play.
As we will soon get the call here. It'll be a face mask on goal against Grant.
Face mask against the Bulldogs. Positive yards there for the Knights.
It will be a 5-yard face mask call. It'll be 1st and about 4 coming up for the Knights offense here. It'll be a replay 1st down as Fish will have one wide receiver to the left, 3 to the right. And the snap, Fish drops back to pass. He'll throw it deep for Swanson. He will catch it, and it will go to the end zone for the touchdown. Joe Swanson. What a pass by Fish, and the Knights are on the board to start this game. A hot start for this Knights offense as they get the first touchdown of the game. A hot start for the Knights, not the start that Grant was wanting against this Knights team. As the extra point will be no good, it'll be blocked. The kick will be blocked by Ben Narski. As a nice start there by the Knights offense, 6-0. A 6-0 start by the Knights offense as they look to kick it off to Grant for their second possession of the game. As Tregenza, Bolton are back to receive the kick. As John Bolton has been a brilliant receiver for Grant. He's coming. As the kick will be up. And it'll be a flag. The kick will go out of bounds. It'll be 1st and 10 coming up at the 35-yard line for Grant. It'll be 1st and 10 coming up for Grant, their own 35, as they had a awful first possession. As Elfring looks to get his team back in the game. 1st and 10. 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. As a snap, Elfring will give it. And it'll be a dive play as Dylan Hernandez. As Hernandez gets a couple yards, brought down by Zaire Knight. It'll be 2nd and 5 coming up for the Bulldogs here. As the Knights look to get a huge win against Grant here. As Fish will come in as a cornerback here. As Elfring will give it. The give is to Hernandez again, and he will be brought down along the line of scrimmage. And it looks like Elfring will be down on the play. We're going to take a break here as injury timeout. Elfring, not a good look for this Grant Bulldogs team as Elfring goes down. Welcome you back from the injury timeout as Grant's starting quarterback Elfring goes off the field. It'll be a 3rd and short play coming up for the Grant Bulldogs here. As it looks like John Bolton will try to come in as quarterback. As John Bolton will come in as the quarterback for Grant here. Be 3rd and short, 1 wide receiver to the right, 1 to the left. The snap, the give is the QB sneak, and it'll be Bolton. Bolton gets a break, and he will be brought down by Nick Fish. Has a nice play there by Bolton.
Run by number 4, the quarterback John Bolton. And that's a first down inside Knight territory.
Great play there by Bolton. It'll be after the huge first down, be inside Knight's territory. 1st and 10 coming up for Grant. 1 wide receiver to the right, 1 to the left. The snap, the give, as Bolton will keep it himself once again, and he will gain a couple. As Bolton has 2 huge runs on this play. As Jacob Black-Michon will check into the game. Be 2nd and 4 coming up for Grant. As Bolton is having a huge drive here on his first possession of the game. As one wide receiver to the right, he'll send one in motion. As the give will be, looks like it'll be to Hernandez.
Check on the play by number 11, Tony Hines.
And the give will be to Noah Lauder.
Noah Lautner.
And Noah Lautner in on that run as
And we got a 3rd and 2 coming up here for Grant.
a 3rd and 2, a huge 3rd down play coming up here for Grant. As Bolton looks to keep this game alive. As they'll send one in motion, Lautner will go in motion. He'll keep it himself, and Lautner will gain a few yards just inside the 30-yard line of Grayslake North, and another 1st down for Grant.
And he is taken on by his numerical counterpart, Jason Hughes.
There's Jason Hughes in on that tackle. And we've just reached 5-minute mark of the first quarter, 6-0 Knights lead. As Bolton will have one wide receiver to his right, one to his left. The snap, the give looks to be, and he'll get a huge break. The give will be to Hernandez.
Check on the play, number 11, Tony Hines is second.
As Hines looks to bring him down.
Number 5, Dylan Hernandez.
It will be a gain of about 8. It'll be 2nd and 2 coming up for the Grant Bulldogs here.
Gain of 7, we'll give it a 2nd and 3 coming up.
As Bolton will have one wide receiver to his right, one to his left. It's Bolton the snap, the keep himself, and he will not.
In there on that play, that is number 28, Brian Kinnebrew.
And Kinnebrew in on that tackle. There'll be no gain. It'll be another 3rd down coming up for Grant.
Who had that ball when he was tackled? We got a 3rd and short.
It'll be 3rd and short. About a 3rd and 1 coming up for the Grant Bulldogs as Benjamin Jensen comes into the game. As Hernandez, will be a huge 3rd down play coming up for this Knights defense. It's Bolton. And Bolton, the snap, the give will be to Hernandez up the middle, and he will get a 1st down just inside the Knights 20. As Brian Kinnebrew in on that tackle. As this Grant Bulldogs offense keeps marching down the field. Be a 1st and 10 inside the Knights 20. As Bolton looks to get another huge play. One wide receiver to the right, one to the left. He'll send one in motion. As the give will be to Hernandez up the middle, and he will be brought down just about the 11-yard line, just short of the 10. And it'll be 2nd and 5 coming up for the Grant Bulldogs. As it'll be 2nd and 4 coming up for the Bulldogs. They'll send one in motion. Bolton, the snap to give is to Hernandez up the middle. Keep it himself. And Bolton will be brought down around the line of scrimmage. He will gain a couple. As it will be good enough for a 1st down. It'll be a 1st and goal coming up for the 8. As Bolton be 1st and goal. The keep will be to Bolton, and the ball comes loose. And it will, looks like it will. There will be no signal yet on who has the ball. No signal yet. And it will still remain Grant ball. It'll be a second and goal call. It'll be a second and goal coming up for the Bulldogs here. As the Knights are not happy with that decision. As they look to see as they recover that football. As Bolton looks to come out second and goal. As one wide receiver to his right, one to his left. One send, one in motion. The give will be on the outside run. He will gain a couple. And would just get inside the 5. And Lautner will be a third and goal situation coming up for the Bulldogs here. Just inside the 5.
5-yard line here, third and goal for the Bulldogs.
And Standurski will come off the field as Bolton, the give to Hernandez, and he will be stopped at the line of scrimmage. And it will be fourth and goal for this Grant Bulldogs offense. There's a lot of moye on that tackle. And the kick will be up, and it will be good. And it will bring the score to Grayslake North 6. And the Grant Bulldogs 3, as Grant looks to keep this game alive. He's looked to end the first quarter on a solid note for this Knights team against this solid Grant Bulldogs team, this 6-1 Grant Bulldogs team. As the Knights look to receive the ball, probably end up keeping the ball to start the second quarter. As Grant looks to kick off. All right. As Tregenza looks to kick off. As Swanson, Johnson, and Hines back to receive the kick. 37 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The Knights lead 6-3 after a field goal kick by the Grant Bulldogs. Kick will be just short. It will be recovered by Zaire Knight, and he will just get outside his own 35.
And it's going to be a first and 10 coming up here for the Knights.
And it looks like it'll be a first and 10 from the 35 coming up for this Knights offense. Their third drive of the game. As their second drive ended a touchdown. As it will be a give to Johnson, and it looks like it'll be a give to Swanson. And Jacob Donahue, the quarterback, the freshman quarterback. As Fish looks to put cornerback. This very strange move here by Donahue to put Donahue a quarterback. As Donahue will now be the starter. Second and 10. And almost a immediate huge play there by Donahue. As Donahue will have first and 10, 2 wide receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Donahue back this pass, and it will be caught. And the pass will be complete. The give will be to number 12, Jeremy Router. And a third and 3 coming up for the Knights here. Huge third down play coming up for the Knights offense here. As Donahue making a very impressive start so far. And then we'll end the first quarter. The score, Knights 6, the Grant Bulldogs 3, as the Knights take the lead in the first quarter with a huge touchdown play by the Knights. And we will be right back. Score, Knights 6, Bulldogs 3. Looking back to the second quarter of play as Jacob Donahue checks into the game, as he will have a 3rd and 3 play, a huge third down play coming up for this Knights offense. The snaps to Donahue, the give is to Johnson, and he will get a first down. As he will get a first down to keep moving the chains, and it will be a 1st and 10 coming up for the 45. This is the start the Knights really needed, as Fish looks to be taking the cornerback spot as Donahue. Is the quarterback Donahue, a very impressive first drive here. It'll be 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. 1st and 10 from the 45. Donahue, the snap, the gives to Johnson, and he will gain about 2-3 yards there. It'll be 2nd and 8, gain of about 2 there by Johnson. Johnson is one of those elusive backs where he's got a ton of speed, a ton of agility, and he is not afraid to use it. It'll be a 2nd and, after that short gain, it'll be 2nd and 8 coming up for the Knights. It'll be 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Donahue, the snap, he'll drop back. The give is to Router, and as Donahue is still 100% completion rate. He's 4 for 4 on passing. As it'll be another 3rd down play coming up for this Knights offense, led by Jacob Donahue. His brother Jason, a huge basketball star, and he looks to graduate this season. As Donahue comes up another 3rd and 3 play. 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. As Donahue, the give, he'll drop back to pass. The give will be to Standurski. The pass intended for Standurski, and the flag goes flying. And the flag, and Travis Standurski, the intended receiver. And it will be a personal foul against the Bulldogs, and it will be an automatic 1st down. And it will be inside Grant territory, as the Knights, for the 2nd time in this game, have gotten inside Grant territory. Only once have they actually scored inside Grant's territory, as they look to continue that streak. As Donahue doing very well for his first possession, 1st and 10, as the give, the fake will be in almost. The intention was to Joe Swanson. As Joe Swanson was wide open on that play, just misdirected him. It'll be 2nd and 10 from inside Grant's own 32. Just about the 10-minute mark of this game, of this half, I should say. It'll be 1st and 10 to give to Johnson, as he will try to get outside, and he will gain just around 2 yards, just inside the 30. As Johnson will just get inside the 30. Got 3rd and 8 play coming up for Donahue. just on the 10-minute mark of this half as the Knights lead by 3, 6-3. As a field goal attempt by Grant last drive. And it'll be a timeout called. There'll be a timeout, Grayslake North. There'll be a timeout called, Grayslake North. The score, Grayslake North 6, Grant 3. Welcome back from the timeout as Knights lead 6-3 against Grant, and it'll be a 3rd and 8 coming up for Donahue. And this Knights offense, 3rd and 8, the snap, drop back to pass is Donahue. As Donahue gets under pressure, he'll roll the fire, give it to Johnson, and Johnson will be knocked out of bounds. Nice scramble there by Donahue as Jacob Donahue, a nice scramble there, and Johnson. As Johnson looks to get just short. It'll be 4th and 7, gains about a yard. It'll be 4th and 7. As the Knights look to go for it here on 4th and 7. It'll be 4th and 7. They're going for it. As Donahue back to snap. The throw will be caught. And he will just get past the first down marker. And the pass will be for Joe Swanson. They will call it a first down for Grayslake North. And a huge first down conversion there by Donahue. And it'll be a first down just at the 21-yard line of Grant. As Donahue, 1st and 10, 3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. As Donahue, the give will be to Johnson, and Johnson has some room on the outside, and he will just get inside the 20-yard line. Nice gain there by Johnson. As Lautner in on that tackle. Getting about 4 on that play. It'll be 2nd and 6 coming up for the Knights offense here. Nice drive here so far by Jacob Donahue. As the line up, 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. As Donahue back to snap. He'll drop back to pass, and the give will be it'll be almost caught. Just in the hands of Jeremy Rauter. It was broken up. It hit the hands of Jeremy Rauter right into his hands, but it was knocked out. And it'll be a 3rd and 6 coming up for this Knights offense. Donahue Rauter almost had a huge play there. As there will be another 3rd down conversion coming up for this Knights offense. 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Swanson and Standurski. As Donahue will drop back to snap, and it will be dropped. And Rauter he just had it dropped incomplete. What a catch that would have been by Rauter. A nice one-handed catch there by Rauter. Almost had it in his hand, but then dropped. As it looks like Donahue looks like he's going to go for it again. As he is just inside the 20 of Grant. As they'll go 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left, as Rauter will be all by himself. Donahue and Johnson in the backfield. The snap, and it will be a flag come flying. And it'll be a false start on the offense. And it will bring them back. I mean, a 4th and 12 coming up for this night's offense. And Donahue looks to capitalize to get his second 4th down conversion of this game. As Donahue comes in early for Fish, as he finally became the quarterback for this offense, replacing Fish. As they'll still keep going for it. It'll be 4th and about 12 as Donahue the snap. And he'll get pressure. He'll drop in the pocket. And Swanson in the end zone for his second touchdown of the game. As Swanson, Donahue with a very hot start. As Donahue a hot start. His first drive ends up in a touchdown. His first drive is a touchdown against this Grant defense. A huge touchdown drive there by Donahue, the freshman quarterback. As Swanson gets his second reception, a touchdown of the game. And now Nick Fish comes back into the game. As they'll send Hines in motion. The give is to Hines. There'll be a reverse play. Thrown over to Fish, and it will be caught. What a catch by Fish. And it will be caught by Fish. And it is a 14-3 ball game. An amazing drive by this Knights offense. And Donahue capitalized on his first drive on this varsity lineup.
Still pretty amazing. That is Grayslake North 14, Grant 3.
Welcome you back after an amazing touchdown drive by the Knights offense as Fish and Donahue's first possession on this varsity roster and first as a starter, his first touchdown thrown on a varsity lineup. An impressive drive by Donahue as Fish completes the Philly special to get the 2-point conversion. It's a 14-3 ball game as Grant looks to receive the kick. And the kick will be tripped up just inside the 40. As Bolton looks to come back and lead this Grant team to help get them back in this game. As the Knights defense looks to make a stand. We have 1st and 10 for Grant at their 40-yard line. As Knight looks to be limping off the field there. As Kilowitz will check in for Knight. It'll be 1st and 10 coming up for this Grant offense. As Bolton will drop back to pass. He'll scramble himself. What speed by Bolton. And so we brought down number 73, Josh Riedel. Be 2nd and short coming up for Grant. What a scramble there by Bolton. This will be 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. The give will be to Hernandez, and he will be brought down just inside Knight's territory at the 45, but not before getting a 1st down as Knight will come back into the game.
concession stand tonight here at Grayslake. Again, all veterans during the military.
As it'll be a 1st and 10 inside the 45. As Bolton, the snap to give, he'll try to QB sneak it himself.
Bolton up the middle there. And he's taking on Leonard 23.
And Tyrell Wadamoye on that tackle. As Josh Reel will come off the field. As Bolton on a 2nd and 7 play. 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Bolton to give. And it will be a huge gain there by Grant. And number 22, Logan Weber, in on that run. Yeah, another 1st down for the Bulldogs here, and just inside the 35. As Bolton, an impressive quarterback for this Grant offense here. As he'll be a 1st and 10 inside the 35. He'll have 1 wide receiver to the right, 2 to the left, and the give will be to, and the ball will come out. No signal yet. As it'll be no signal yet, and it will be recovered. And it will be recovered. And the Knights will recover on a fumble recovery by Grant. Fumbled the ball as Hernandez fumbled the ball, and the Knights will take over 1st and 10 inside their 35. And it will be a 1st and 10 inside their own 35. As Fish will be back to being the starter. As Fish will come back out on the field. 1st, 2nd possession, 1 wide receiver to the right, 1 to the left. As they'll send Swanson in motion. As Fish drops back to pass, they'll have Hines one-on-one, and he tries to get it just overthrown. It'll be just overthrown by Fish. They'll have a 2nd and 10 coming up for Fish. Be a 2nd and 10 coming up for inside their own 45. This will be a 2nd and 10, 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. As Hines and Johnson, the give will be to Hines, though Nick Fish will keep it himself. As Fish will gain a couple yards, gains about 3. It'll be a 3rd and 6 play. It'll be a 3rd and 6 play. 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Johnson in the backfield as Fish will drop back to pass, and he will get stuffed behind the line of scrimmage. As Fish looks to get stuffed there. It'll be a 4th and long coming up for the Knights as Grant looks to get the ball back. As Noah Lautner back to receive the punt. There'll be another 1st down play coming up for Grant. As Bolton looks to finally get this Grant offense into the end zone here. Be a 1st and 10 inside their own 40. as Bolton will have one wide receiver to the right, one to the left. As Hernandez in the backfield. As Bolton will snap the give. He'll be stuffed at the line of scrimmage. As Lautner, as Hernandez was the give. He will gain just about a yard. As we approach, we are under 4 minutes in this first half. The score, Knights 14, Grant 3. An impressive showing by this Knights offense against this hot 6-1 Grant team. As Grant will line up one wide receiver to the right, one to the left. As Lautner will keep it himself. Look at the speed of Bolton. And Dimitri Cannon in on that tackle. As Bolton as we approach the 3-minute mark of this game, a huge third down play coming up for this Knights defense. As Bolton, as will be a counter, and it will be a first down play, and a huge, massive hit there by Tony Hines. Be just inside Knight territory, 1st and 10 coming up for this Grant offense, as Bolton has been hot for this Grant offense. The Knights have held them. As a give will be to Hernandez, as he will gain a 9-yard gain. Look at the power of Hernandez. As Bolton will line up with one wide receiver to the right, one to the left. It'll be 2nd and short. As a give, Bolton will keep it himself, and he will be brought down by number 28, Brian Kinnebrew. Just inside 2 minutes remaining in the half, as Grant looks to get on the board here and get their first touchdown of the game. Coming up, halftime performance by the dance team and the band, as the Knights look to head into halftime up big against Grant. They up an 11-point lead, 14-3. A huge first half play by the Knights here. As they will take a break as a timeout was called. Knights lead 14-3 with just under 2 minutes left to go in the half. We'll welcome you back from the timeout as Grant a 1st and 10 just inside the 40. As Bolton, 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. The give will be to Hernandez, as Hernandez has some room to run, and he will just go out of bounds just around the 1st down marker. As Grant looks to keep this game close with a touchdown here. Very cold and windy day. Very cold, windy night here in Grayslake North High School. Close game. A huge first half for this Knights team. As Bolton will give it to Hernandez, and he will gain about a yard or 2. As Tyler Anamoye on that tackle. It'll be a 1st and 10. Another first down coming for the Bulldogs here. 1st and 10 inside the Knights 35. Shake that to 25. As turnovers by Grant have really help this Knights offense as Hernandez the give, and the keep will be to Bolton as Jacob Black Michon was the first to get on that tackle. 1:24 remaining in the half as as Grant takes a timeout as North Knights lead 14-3. Welcome back from the timeout. It'll be 2nd and long coming up for Grant as Bolton will send one in motion. And the give will be to Hernandez as Kinnebrew stops him at the line of scrimmage. As Kinnebrew stops at the line of scrimmage, a 3rd and long play coming up for the Knights for the Grant offense. As we reach the 1-minute mark of the first half, the Knights lead 14-3. A huge first half for the Knights here. Grant has struggled to get on the board turnover after turnover. Has 2 turnovers so far in this game. As Bolton, 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. As Bolton drops back to pass. And the coverage there. And it will be picked and intercepted! And it will be picked and intercepted by number 21, Thomas Kilowitz. Another turnover by Grant. And it'll be 33 seconds remaining in the half. A pick there by Kilowitz. Looked like there was nobody open for Bolton on that play. A risky decision to throw it over the middle where Kilowitz just intercepted the ball. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Knights offense as they look to go into the locker room up big, 14-3 against a very stacked Grant team. As Fish will be 1st and 10, 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. As Fish, the give will be to Johnson as Johnson will gain a couple before he stopped inside the line, stopped at the line of scrimmage. As the Knights just under the 20-second mark of this first half. And that looks like it is probably going to be the half. And that is going to be the half as the Knights, an impressive start by the Knights as they go up 14-3. As Grant still struggles against this North defense. As the Knights go into the locker room big, up 14-3. As we will take a break, step away for the halftime performance by the band and the dance team. Knights up 14-3. Welcome back as we welcome you back to the second half of play. The Knights with a strong first half as they lead 14-3 over Grant. As Grant looks to receive the ball to start the second half and get their first touchdown of the game, as kickoff is coming in just a minute. Grant has 3 turnovers to start the half. Dude, ready? As kickoff is coming up in just a minute. As Watner and Jensen are back to receive the kick for Grant to start the second half. As the kick is off. As looks like to start to get Tregenza as Eddie Tregenza. This will be 1st and 10 coming up for the Grant Bulldogs to start the second half. A rough first half by the Bulldogs. 3 turnovers by the Grant offense as they look to start fresh on this in the brand new half to hopefully get themselves in the lead for the first time in the game. As Bolton still the quarterback for the Bulldogs, as the give will be to Dylan Hernandez for the first play of the second half. And it'll be 2nd and about 7 coming up for the Bulldogs here. 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Bolton, the snap to give is to Hernandez as he'll keep it himself and stuffed there by Dimitri Cannon. And as Cannon with the stop, it'll be another 3rd down play. Another 3rd down play coming up for the Bulldogs. We have 3rd down play coming up for the Bulldogs as they just get over their own 35. As Bolton, he'll send Tregenza in motion, and he will be stopped at the line of scrimmage. Dimitri Cannon again. As Hines we have 4th down play coming up for the Bulldogs as their first 4th down play as they look to go for it as they will punt it away. Hines back to receive the kick. There's a nice punt there by Bolton. And the ball will go just out of bounds. And it'll be inside Knights territory around the 42 as we approach the 10-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. Knights lead 14-3 as the Knights offense will take over 1st and 10 from their own 40. For the first time in the second half, the Knights offense has really been clicking tonight. As Fish back as starter. He'll have 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Johnson in the backfield. Snap 1st and 10. Fish back to pass. He'll let it go. Intended for Joe Swanson. And there goes Swanson. Touchdown. His 3rd touchdown of the game. As Swanson has had an incredible night tonight. Nice throw there by Fish. First play of the game is a touchdown for the Knights. And the lead keeps increasing for this offense as it is a 20-3 game, looking to make it a 21-3 game against a solid Grant team. As Swanson has had his third touchdown reception of the game. As it looks like they're going to go for 2 here. As Fish will drop back to pass, he'll roll to his right. The give will be overthrown to Hughes. Pass intended to Jason Hughes. As Grayslake North leads 20-3, another touchdown conversion. As Grant's defense looks to struggle, as this entire Grant team's roster looks to struggle. As Bolton, as the original quarterback Tyler Elfring went down early in the game, leaving John Bolton to come in as the starter, and he's been very solid with a nice defense. Has been on their A game against this solid Grant offense. As they go up 20-3, as they only hold the Grant Bulldogs to a total of 3. No touchdowns allowed. They've left them in their territory, but no touchdowns have been allowed, just a field goal try. As Taylor is back to receive the kick for the Bulldogs. As it looks like Grant will try to get it back, and they will get it inside the 30. Art Alex with the reception. And Tyler Wadamoye with his third tackle of the game. And it will be 1st and 10 coming up for Grant. Right around their own 36-yard line. It's around the same spot that they were in. As it'll be 1st and 10. Bolton, 1 wide receiver to the right, 1 to the left. As Hernandez goes up the middle for and Bolton will keep it himself. As Noah Green gets the tackle, his first tackle of the game, 2nd and 3 coming up for Grant. As Bolton is a very quick burst. He is a very fast quarterback and very agile quarterback. His scrambling ability is incredible, and he has proven it in this game. As Bolton, 2nd and 3, the give will be to Hernandez, and he will get stopped at the line of scrimmage and brought down in the backfield. And Kinnebrew in on the tackle. Another 3rd down conversion coming up for Grant. As Bolton will line up 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Bolton back to throw. He'll throw to his right, and it will be caught just behind. And he will be taken down the line of scrimmage. Another 4th down play coming up for Grant as this offense continues to struggle. Another 4th down play coming up for Grant as they look to go for it here inside their own territory. As no, they look like they're going to punt with Hines back to receive the kick. And a timeout called by Grant. As we will step away for this timeout. Grayslake North leads 20-3. Welcome you back from the timeout. Grayslake North leads 20-3. As Bolton looks to punt it away to Hines. As Bolton looks to punt it away to Hines. As Bolton, and it almost be blocked by Kinnebrew as Hines will let it drop. And it will just be inside the 35. Another first down coming up for this Knights offense as Fish looks to take over. As they look to increase their lead against this Grant team who has struggled against the Knights tonight. As they have yet to take the lead. And it'll be 1st and 10 from around the 34. 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Johnson in the backfield. As Fish drop back to pass, a throw is almost picked off. And the pass was almost picked. And Ethan Geist almost had a pick 6 there. It'll be 1st and 10. It'll be 1st and 10 coming from the Knights offense. Johnson, the give, as he will gain a couple. And this will be a short gain in the 3rd and 4. And it'll be a 3rd and 4 play coming up. As they'll go 3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. As Fish drops back, he'll throw it. As Johnson will get tripped up there. No flag will be thrown. As it looked like Swanson wanted the flag to be thrown. And Knights fans surely ain't happy about that, and it looks like they're going to have to punt it away.
Please come up to the press box immediately to collect your $317. Thanks for everyone who participated and supported Grayslake North cheerleading.
As the Knights look to punt it away, and the kick will be up. And Lautner and Jason Hughes gets on that ball. And it'll be another 1st and 10 coming up for Grant inside the 30-yard line. Just under 7 minutes remaining in the quarter to score. Knights lead 20-3. Grant has yet to score a touchdown against this Knights defense. Knights defense has only also allowed a field goal. As Bolton, as it'll be 3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. As Bolton drops back to pass it, keep it himself, and he will be brought down. And he will be brought down by number 43, Dimitri Cannon. Dimitri Cannon, Sire Knight on that tackle. As there'll be 3 wide receivers to the left, 2 to the right. As an empty backfield, Bolton gets tripped up, and he will stay above. A nice run there by Bolton. And Jeremy Router in on that tackle will be the first 1st down for this Grant offense, as they look to get inside Knights territory for the first time in this game. As Bolton, empty backfield, 3 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. The blitz will come, gets pressured by Brian Kinnebrew. Brian looks to get him, and the catch will be caught. As Bolton will get his first reception. Benjamin Jensen will get the reception, his first reception of the game. And the Grant Bulldogs will get inside Knights territory for the first time in this game. It'll be a 1st and 10 coming up for the Bulldogs inside the 40-yard line. As Grant looks again inside Knights territory for the first time in this game. 3 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. As Bolton back to pass. As Kinnebrew will give him pressure, he'll throw it. The pass will be caught. And there will be... And the pass will be caught by Benjamin Jensen again. As we approach the 5-minute mark of the 3rd quarter, as the Knights lead 20-3. As Grant looks to get themselves their first touchdown of the game and get themselves back in the game. As Bolton has an empty backfield again. Bolton drops back to pass, and the pressure will come. He'll throw it, and it will be caught. What a catch! And what a catch by Benjamin Jensen. As Zaire Knight is slow to get up. As Bolton still finding a way to avoid Kinnebrew, who's been in that backfield. As Bolton, 1 wide receiver to the left, 1 to the right. 1st and 10 inside the 20. The give is to Hernandez, and he will be stopped at the line of scrimmage. There'll be 2nd and about 7 coming up for the Grant Bulldogs. They're inside Knights territory, just at the 10. As the give will be to Bolton, as he'll keep it himself, and he will get inside the 10. What's up, Aaron? And it'll be a touchdown for Grant as they get their first touchdown of the game, as Bolton gets into the end zone for the first time for the Knights here. As it'll be a 20-9 ball game as Grant looks to attempt the extra point. And the kick will be up, and the kick will be good. They'll bring the score to Grayslake North 20, Grant 10. And the Knights will get the ball back. As we will step away for opening for the kickoff. as Hines, Johnson, and Swanson back to receive the kick for the Knights after Grant finally scores their first touchdown. As Hines looks to get back to kick, he'll take it, and he will get just inside the 30. It'll be another first and 10 coming up for Nick Fish. Be first and 10 coming up for the Knights inside their own 30. As Donahue comes back into the game, the pitch will be to Johnson. Johnson trying to find some room, and he will be stopped behind the line of scrimmage. As the Knights look to run out the quarter here, just under 3 minutes to score. Grayslake North 20, Grant 10. An update and scores between the Antioch and Lakes game. Lakes up 7-0. That is Ethan Caligac-Manis is still hurt with an arm injury. As there will be second and long coming up for the Knights. 3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Donahue back to snap, and he will be to Hines, as Hines looks to get a run, and Hines has a lane. And he will bounce to the outside. He's going to still keep going. And he's inside of Grant territory, just inside the 40. A nice gain there by Hines. Great placement there by Donahue. As the freshman, a very, very hot start to the second half, as he's had a very nice game tonight. As Donahue, 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Johnson in the backfield. Donahue will be a screen pass to Hines. Hines trying to find some room. A nice stiff arm there, and he will get a couple yards, as he will just get inside the 40. Be 2nd and 8 coming up for the Knights offense as Jacob Donahue. As Jacob Donahue comes back in as quarterback. And then as Donahue, 3 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. The throw will be to Swanson. He will get it, and he will be inside the first down marker. And it will be a 1st and 10. It'll be good. It'll be just short, as they will call him just a yard short. A 3rd and 1 coming up for the Knights offense. The first 3rd down conversion for this Knights offense, as we are just under a minute left in the 3rd quarter to score. Knights 20, Grant 10. The Knights look to improve to a 500 record, 4-4, going into their last game of the season against Grayslake Central. A timeout. As we had a time reset to 58 seconds, just under 2 seconds under a minute. 3rd and 1 coming up for the Knights offense, says Donahue, 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. As Donahue to Johnson, gives to Johnson. He has a hole, and he will get inside the 25 and still going, as he would just get around the 22. That's Donahue, 1st and 10. His second time inside Grant territory. 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Johnson in the backfield as Donahue, the fumbled snap, and Donahue will recover.
Fumble snap that was recovered by number 1, Jacob Donahue. 2nd and long coming up here. And it looks like that's going to...
And that is going to end the 4th quarter. The score, Grayslake North 20 and the Grant Bulldogs 10. As we will take a break as the 4th quarter action. Welcome you back to the 4th quarter, the last quarter of play between the Grayslake North Knights and the Grant Bulldogs as North leads 20-10. As Donahue has 2nd and long. And the snap, the give will be just almost intercepted. As that pass will fall incomplete. A 3rd and long coming up for Donahue. An almost interception as we begin the 4th quarter. To be 3rd and long coming up for the Knights here. Donahue back to snap. He'll throw it deep for Swanson. And Swanson, oh, almost had it. What a catch that would have been if Swanson could have held on. Would have had his 4th touchdown of the game. Swanson almost completed that pass. What a catch that would have been. A 4th and long coming up for the Knights. An almost amazing play there by Swanson, the senior. Yeah. And Grayslake North ready to punt it away. As Lautner will let it go out of bounds. And it will be a 1st and 10 coming up for Grant as they look to get back in this game, get back to a 3-point lead for the Knights, and make it a little bit of a game here. It's Bolton has an empty backfield here. As Bolton with an empty backfield. As Bolton rolls to his right. As it'll be fall incomplete. As Cannon got some pressure. As Kinnebrew and Knight. As Kinnebrew and Zaire Knight. It'll be a 2nd and 10 play coming up for the Grant Bulldogs inside their own 15. As Bolton will have an empty backfield again, as it'll be a fumbled snap. And Zaire Knight almost had his 1st sack of the game. Would have brought them back to the goal line, but the pass will fall incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 10 coming up for Grant. As Bolton will have an empty backfield again, he'll roll to his right. Flag is down, and it will be thrown and picked off by Router. And the ball, fourth turnover there. And there will be a fourth turnover there by Grant. As Bolton, his second interception, however, there is a flag on the play.
Router with that interception. And we're going to have a 1st and 10 coming up here at Grayslake.
It'll be 1st and 10 after the interception by Router as Fish, 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. The give will be to Johnson as he will try to bump it outside, and he will gain about a yard. C.J. Johnson.
Group of the Bulldogs check that to get him down there. 51 to 10. He's getting in on that tackle. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Be 2nd and 10 after the no gain by Johnson. We'll have 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. As Swanson all by himself. As the give will be to Hines, and he will be stopped at the line of scrimmage as well. Another 3rd down play coming up for the Knights offense here. As Swanson almost had his 4th touchdown of the game after dropping what could have been an incredible catch, an incredible play. He's had a really nice night tonight with 3 touchdown passes, with 3 touchdown catches, and he just has a really nice bond with Fish, the senior. As Fish will line up 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Fish drops back. As Fish looks to get some pressure, and the ball will come out, and it will be scooped up, and it will be Grant ball. And no signal yet. And the ball will be recovered by Grant. Knights finally forced their first turnover of the game. It's Fish with the fumbled snap there. As Grant will take over at the 50-yard line. As it'll be 1st and 10 coming up for Grant, as Bolton alone in the backfield. He'll send Lautner in motion, as Bolton will keep it himself. Look at the quickness of Lautner. Look at the quickness of Bolton, and he gets the lane and will be inside Knights territory, inside the 25.
Deep inside Knight territory, we have a 1st and 10 coming up here for the Bulldogs.
As Bolton has been a very elusive and quick running, a very quick and elusive quarterback for Grant, as he is getting Grant back into this matchup, as they are down by a touchdown and a field goal, just down 10. As we approach just under 10 minutes, the score is 20-10, North leads. As Bolton has a single backfield, drop back, Bolton back to pass. He will get pressure. He'll keep it himself, and the pass will be caught inside the 10, and it will be another touchdown for Grant. And Lautner, his 2nd touchdown of the game. Bolton and the Grant Bulldogs are back into this game. An extra point could finally make it a 3-point game for the first time since the second quarter. As the Grant Bulldogs are just one kick away from making this a 3-point game for the first time since the second quarter. And the kick is up, and it will be good. And for the first time since the second quarter, we finally have a 3-point game as Grant finds a way to get back into this game.
That's going to be at the Rams, 7 o'clock for your varsity contest.
As the costly fumble leads to a Grant touchdown as Bolton marches into the end zone with a throw by Lautner and gets his second touchdown reception of the game. Just inside 10 minutes, 20-17 lead for the Knights. Johnson, Hines, and Swanson back to receive the kick. And Swanson, Hines, and Johnson back to receive the kick. As Tregenza looks to kick it away. As Swanson will take it. And Swanson will be just getting inside the 30. As Fish looks to take over. As a 1st and 10 coming up for the Knights offense. It'll be a 1st and 10 play coming up for Fish. 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Fish the snap as he will keep it himself. And he will be stopped behind the line. Be 2nd and 10 coming up for the Knights. As Fish, 2nd and 10, 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Swanson all alone. Fish the snap. The give is to Johnson. As Johnson finds a hole, there goes Johnson. And he will be inside Knights, and he will be inside Bulldog territory. As it'll be inside Grant Torrey after a huge run by Johnson. As the give will be to Johnson again, as he will find an outside run. And there goes Johnson again! And he goes on the outside. He will get inside Grant 30. As it'll be a 1st and 10 coming from the 30. And it'll be 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. The give is to Johnson again, and it'll be a face mask call. And it looks like there will be a fumble recovery, and it will be recovered by Grant. And Grant recovers. That's another costly fumble. There'll be another 1st and 10. Be a 1st and 10 play as Bolton alone in the backfield. He'll send one in motion. He'll send Lautner in motion as Bolton will keep it himself, and he will be dragged down as we are just under 8 minutes to play. The score, Grayslake North 20 and Grant 17, as Grant looks to get the lead for the first time in this contest. As it'll be a single backfield again for Bolton. Be a single backfield for Bolton as Bolton will keep it himself, and he will get another 1st down for Grant. As Grant looks to move the ball down the field. As Bolton again, single backfield. So send Hernandez in motion as Brian looks to get pressure, and he will throw it away. As Bolton will throw it away. And 2nd and 10 coming up, under 7 minutes to play. As a 2nd and 10 play just coming inside their own 40. As it'll be another single backfield again for Bolton. As Bolton drops back to pass, as Bolton looks to keep it himself. As Bolton will have a deep ball, and it will be just hit by Kilowitz. And the pass will be broken up by Kilowitz. And it'll be a 3rd and 10 play coming up for Bolton. There's the pass intended for Eddie Tregenza. As it will be Bolton. Bolton single backfield again. 3rd and 10, a huge 3rd down play coming up for Bolton. As Bolton looks to keep it himself, be thrown. It will be caught. And what a catch there by Benjamin Jensen. And it will be ruled a 1st down. And he will just get inside Knights territory. There'll be a 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. Just under 7 minutes to play. The score 20-17 as Grant looks to get their first lead of the game. As Hernandez will be just inside the 45. He'll be 2nd and about 8 coming up for the Grant Bulldogs here. That's Bolton. Give it to Hernandez, and he will be stopped behind the line. Zaire Knight. As we approach under the 6-minute mark, the score 20-17, Knights lead. Again, Grant looking to get their first touchdown and lead of the game. As it'll be an empty backfield again Will be an empty backfield again for Bolton. Bolton drops back to pass. Here comes Kennebrew. And pass will fall incomplete. It'll be a huge fourth down play coming up for the Bulldogs. And the Bulldogs, we're going to have to go for it on a huge fourth down play coming up for the Knights here. As Standerski will come back into the game. As looks like Bolton will punt it away. And he will get it inside the 10. What a punt by Bolton. Just inside the 5. Another 1st and 10 coming up for the Knights. It'll be a 1st and 10 as Fish, we're going to keep it himself, and Fish will just get inside the 10. We have 2nd and 5 coming up for the Knights, just inside 5 minutes. As the Knights will be 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. It's Fish, Johnson. Fish, give will be to Johnson, and the Johnson will bounce it outside, and he will get it just inside the 15. And it will be a 1st down call. And it will be a 1st down for the Knights as they look to run out the clock and win this game here. As we approach the 4-minute mark, as 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Knights looking to help limit the turnovers. As the give will be to Johnson again, as Johnson has a lane, and it will take many Bulldogs to take him down. And it'll be another 1st down for Johnson again. And the clock will run as we just go under 4 minutes. Is it open? As the Knights look to wear down the clock here, 1st and 10 inside their own 30. As almost a failed snap, as Johnson gets a lane and he will gain a couple. That's another great run by Johnson. And there will be a timeout called by Grant. As we will take a break. The score, Grayslake North 20, Grant 17. We welcome you back from the timeout. The score, Grayslake North 20, Grant 17, as we approach the 3-minute mark in the game. As a huge first down, as the give will be to Johnson again, as he will stop the line of scrimmage. A third down play coming for the Grayslake North offense as we are under the 3-minute mark.
Now we have a 3rd and 2. Check that, make it a 3rd and 3.
As it'll be a huge third down play here coming for Fish. 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. As the give will be to Johnson again. He'll bounce it outside, and Johnson will find a hole, and he will be brought down hard. And another first down for Johnson. And the clock will keep running. As we approach the 2-minute mark. As it'll be another 1st and 10 coming up for the Knights, just inside the 45. As we are under 2 minutes to play, the Knights lead by 3, 20-17. As it'll be 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Fish, the give is to Johnson again, and he will be stuffed behind the line of scrimmage.
Turn on C.J. Johnson with that carry. Taken on by number 17, Kyle Rainey.
That's Kyle Rainey on that tackle. As it'll be a timeout called by Grant. So a timeout called by Grant as people step away. 20-17, Grayslake North lead. Welcome you back from the timeout as Grayslake North leads 20-17. A huge possession coming up for the Knights here as 3 wide receivers at the pitch will be to Johnson as Johnson will find a hole and he will get around the 47.
We've got a 3rd and about 7 here as we approach a minute to go.
As the Knights need a first down on this play here. As we approach under a minute in this game. The Knights look to chew the clock here and possibly get out of this game with a win against Grant to make them 6-2 in the year and get the Knights to 4-4 to go against Central next week. Fish, the give is to Johnson as he will find a hole. He'll reverse the run. There goes Johnson. C.J. Johnson. As he will be knocked out of bounds inside the 5. What a run by C.J. Johnson.
We give a lot of credit to Johnson. Let's give credit to the blocking up front there. 52 Jack Sisson, 61 Joshua West, 69 Jonathan Berman, 70 Jonathan Bauman, 74 Jacob Black the shot.
And what a play by the Knights here. And what a run by C.J. Johnson. And the clock will run with just under 35 to go as the Knights will kneel it out. As the Knights will kneel it out here as the Knights get a 2nd consecutive win. Grant falls. Grant falls to 6-2. The Knights' playoff hopes are still alive as the final game of the season to face off against Central. This is Dane Massey signing off for GNHS-TV. 20-17, the final. Grayslake North wins. Good night, everybody.